Welcome to the Astro Forecast for the week of October 11th to October 17th. So this week we are building to the full moon in Aries that is happening on the 20th of October. And why I'm laughing is I'm recording this during a Mercury retrograde. So we are still in a Mercury retrograde at the time that you're watching this as well. And I poked my eye, poked myself in the eye with my finger. I've recorded it 3 times with so many mistakes. It has been unbelievable. So Mercury retrograde can still be affecting you, and as it is affecting me, I'm a Virgo, and Gemini's out there as well. That's our ruling planet, Mercury. And I've been seeing a lot of misinformation on the internet, on social media. This is a lovely time to slow down. I wouldn't have poked myself in the eye if I wasn't rushing. Of getting organized. If I had better notes, I could have not, gotten rid of 2 of the missteps from before that I'd started and had to delete. And reviewing what we're trying to say, slowing down and just being thoughtful and mindful, listening, realigning with what's important for us. It's a really great time because, especially if you are just rushing and trying to get ahead and trying to stay on top of everything, this is a time to just kind of take a time out to really do the things that you sort of glossed over in the past. So it's a beautiful time. The universe gives us these moments of clarity and to see things. I know for me, there's been so many things coming up of that were hidden too. That's another wonderful thing of Mercury retrograde. It uncovers the things that were hidden. Things come to light or surface during this time that we may have not known about. Truths are uncovered at this time, and I have had a lot of truths come to the surface. As you may or may not know, I have a subscription box, the Woo subscription box, and I found out that somebody else has my name and has been soliciting my clients. I was like, huh, that's interesting that that's happening. And the last box ships out in October, and I was just like, and I let the domain name go. And so, you know what? Power to that person who's doing that, but also, I had no idea, and I had to sit with those feelings in that moment. So Tuesday, October 12th, Mercury is going to be in conjunct to Uranus. Now, both these planets are retrograde at this time. So what does this mean? It means Mercury is our mind, and in Libra, we're seeking to find balance, harmony, compromise, it's mediation. We're trying to sort of speak and listen. We really want to find harmony and balance with people, which is so lovely during this time of dichotomy and us versus them mentality. This is helping to bring out more of that we, right? In the zodiac, Libra sits in the 7th house by the natural wheel, and your Aries is on the 1st house. They're opposites. Aries is about me, and Libra is about we, right? It's partnership. Who are we in partnership? And so this is a time when we're going to be supporting that. The energy is supporting more of that. So Mercury in Libra, thinking about compromise. How can we talk nicely? What can get stuff done? Libra is an air sign and it's cardinal. It likes to get things done. They are very smart Libras. And Uranus is a shit disturber. It likes to mess things up. It likes to, for the purposes of evolution, let me tell you that. No one's trying to just mess up life for the sake of it, although chaos and fear does reign sometimes, but if we let it. But Uranus has a purpose. He's trying to help you evolve through your pains and struggles. So this 150-degree angle in inconjunct or quincunx, sometimes called in astrology, means that they don't really work well together, but they can. It's a paradox, a riddle, a need for adjustment between these 2 planets. And so what does this mean? This is a day of your schedule is not going to go according to plan. There'll be unforeseen circumstances or disruptions. You might feel like you want to escape and kind of leave this place, right? Uranus is a rebellious energy. So stay flexible. And if you feel overstimulated or you have too much on the go, this is going to bring you down to earth, right? So don't give yourself too much to do on this Tuesday. Multitasking is a fallacy. I wrote that down here. And that's true because your mind can only focus on one task at a time. That's neuroscience. It is only able to focus on one thing. When you try to multitask and go between stuff, what happens is your brain needs time to recalibrate to the the new thing that you're doing, new project or new conversation, and then come back. And you can feel that, right? When you're interrupted in some way, you kind of have to refocus yourself, get your bearings back and get back on task. So today is not going to be a day to multitask. Try to set a timer, maybe for 15 minutes. I think that's called the Pomodoro effect, where you set your timer for a certain amount of time where you just focus on one thing, and then you can move on to something else, and have the discipline to turn off your phone or notifications or not take those calls while you're doing something else, unless, of course, it's an emergency. So in a positive way, this can be very inspirational. Ingenuity comes out here. We can be outside of the box thinking, dream-like state where we're dreaming up these wonderful solutions. And in a negative way, it can be distraction, lack of discernment, trying to do everything and getting nothing done. So just have a very open schedule on Tuesday and focus on the tasks that you do have in there. Wednesday, we have two aspects on this day. Venus is sextile to Saturn, and this is a really lovely aspect. Venus is in Libra again. No, it's in Sagittarius, excuse me. And Sagittarius is about, we love to explore and have adventure and big conversations and philosophy and intuition. And it's almost like elevating information. So Gemini is kind of information that is here and sort of applicable in many different ways. A jack of all trades, a master of none, versus Sagittarius is a master of one. So thinking of this is we are wanting, Venus is in Sagittarius at this time. So we are wanting more adventure. We are calling out for more freedom, and that's not happening, unfortunately. And then Saturn is about responsibility. And in Aquarius, it's about duty, responsibility. Are we doing the right things? And Saturn just moved direct last week. So this is about now Venus come back to help Saturn to do the things it needs to do. And what I love about astrology is now what happens is all the hard work that you did when Saturn was retrograde, and Saturn is about responsibility, duty. Are you doing the things that you were supposed to be doing? And in Aquarius is, are you doing the things for humanity, for your community? Are you keeping yourself safe and trying your best? We all are trying our best at this time. And I want to stress that now and here. And if you feel like you are in a dichotomy or in a us versus them, I want you to think that we all want the same thing. We all want to get out of this pandemic. We all want to come out of this alive. We all want to be free. We want to do the things that we want to do. And we don't want to have all these restrictions on us. We all want that. And I think where we start to differ is how we're going to get there, or people getting tired of it, or people, if you don't think that this is a real thing at this point in time, I'm sorry, I have no words for you. This is a real thing. And we're all in this situation together now. So how can we come through this together with love? So this aspect on Wednesday is about solutions possible for longstanding issues. This is great. This is about helping us be supportive, ease of tensions, responsibilities go well now. This is about tasks and duties, and we're feeling like we want to do the thing. We're feeling motivated. But even with that motivation, we have this sun in conjunct to Neptune. Now, I already talked about in conjunct being kind of this like paradox riddle. The energy just doesn't flow quite right. And we've got to figure it out to get it to work together. And the sun is our vitality. It's our energy. It's kind of our identity. And it's sitting in Libra right now. We're in Libra season. So happy birthdays to all the Libras once again. And this Libra energy, again, is about compromise and balance. And how can we find a middle ground, which is so needed at this time, right? Everything for an opportunity. The universe is always right timing us out. It's so great. And then Neptune is our intuition. It's our kind of this higher knowledge. It's idealism, one love. It's religion through spirituality. It's the end of the zodiac. Come, let us all be one. So think of the yogi sitting on the mountains thinking, I have the information. That is Neptune. So when these two energies don't play super well together, this can create idealism. You are making things idealistic. If I do all these things, so combined with this Venus and Saturn this day, we can sort of feel like I'm doing all the things and other people aren't. That's one way. Or I have to do more and more and more to try to get caught up. And that's kind of playing on Tuesday stuff of you're now overwhelming yourself. So it's very interesting how these all combine, right? So if this energy is showing up for you, this can be low confidence. This can be realism. You're thinking like, this is realistic. This is, why don't people know? You're like, like some of these comments in these threads have been like, why don't everybody know what this outcome is? It's like, well, you're the only one that's feeling like that, or maybe a small group of people, but not everybody thinks like that. And I almost sort of think like, why aren't you thinking about why are these people feeling this way, as opposed to shaming, blaming, and trying to chastise people? Like, that's never worked. Does it work for you as a human being? Stop doing it to other people. You don't like it when it's done to you. Stop it. I want to just put that in all those comments. Friday, October 15th is a really lovely day. And it is the best day of the week. So I will say, plan for your Friday to be fun. This is the sun is trining to Jupiter, and a trine is the most harmonious aspect. So the sun in Libra, compromise, harmony, trying to find balance, information, ideas, intellect is part of that too. There's a creativity amongst Libras too. And then Jupiter is expansion and optimism, and he's retrograde in Aquarius. So this is kind of bringing that expansion, like how can we help our community? The one of the things that comes to mind every time I think of Jupiter in Aquarius retrograde is Medicare, right? And social support. How can we help those people in society that are less fortunate, or kind of are trying to make the most of their life but are having a really hard time? And this gives me hope for Friday, that we can sort of come together and find this balance and harmony and love for fellow human beings. Venus is rules Libra, and in Sagittarius again, right? That's that kind of that big love, and seeing the opportunities here, and seeing where this is taking us, and then having that love and compassion for our fellow humans so that we can all rise together. So high energy, optimism, expansion, desire to expand your horizons, learning, it's philosophy, travel, learning about expansive things. You can even put some metaphysical in there too, as much as that it kind of helps you to elevate life and the information that you know. Just metaphysics is very more Scorpio or Aquarius. So this is, it could be part of that because of Jupiter and Aquarius too. So really kind of tapping into that love of, for your fellow human beings, and doing something today that feels really good and expansive. Saturday, October 16th, we have two aspects. Mars is in conjunct to Neptune. And again, that's at 150-degree angle. Mars is in Libra. So we are seeking harmony. We are seeking balance. And Neptune again in Pisces retrograde. So there's that idealism, one love, spirituality. So when these two things are trying to work together, it's like we're trying to find the balance, but we are just not able to make it work. So this is about learning from the past, using your intuition. This could be discouraged, doubt, or reflecting on the past. And I'm going to say the positive aspect here is, if you feel discouraged, look to the past to see what has worked and what hasn't worked, and start to ask some questions, curious, open-hearted questions about why. What could this possibly look like? If I could change this to make it look something different, what could that be? I like to come back to, we're in this pandemic, but, even thinking of the vaccines, idealistically, you're either on the one side where you're like, I wish no one had to get it and this thing was gone. I mean, I guess we all sort of wish that to an extent, or you wish that everyone would just get the vaccine and we would be fine. And that's not the case. And that's not the case. Both of them are not the case. They're not the answers, right? So idealistically, we can't, idealism is a bit dangerous, because we can't idealize. We are humans, right? It's not going to, the idealistic situation is never going to come about, or very rarely so, a very low statistical chance. So can we then come together with compromise and understanding instead? And so asking those questions of like, the people who don't believe what I believe, why are they believing that? What are their fears? What is that? What's driving them? When we start to make assumptions that they're not smart, or they're not educated, or they don't know, or they're in low income, all of that is a lie. It's all a lie. Stop assuming, right? I think you heard the term, assumption makes an ass of you and me, I think is like the whole assume thing. So don't assume that you know what the other people are thinking. Start to research, start to ask questions, start to reach out to people and listen without judgment. So That's what this is. You might feel discouraged. You might feel a little bit like, oh, the wind coming out of your sails. And the opportunity is like, okay, what's the opportunity for growth here? What is this trying to teach me? And what can I use this to make my life better with? Like, how can I do something good with what I'm going through right now? And then that's what's going to help with us is you have this Mercury sextile to Venus on this day too. So Venus and Mercury retrograde are working together on this day to help you feel more able to see a pattern or able to see a path to happiness for yourself. So big ideas, social. This might also indicate a good time to kind of fall into some friendships and ask for support and ask people to, can you give me a perspective on this? I'm feeling a little down, or maybe I'm not sure if I'm seeing this situation right. And choose your friends wisely with this, because I have friends that are like, Sheetal, you're always right. And I also have friends who are like, well, how do you feel about that? Let's sit in your heart, and I'll sit with you in the sadness. So, if you ask your friends like, you're always right, then it's going to be like a us versus them. And we don't want that. We want more introspective, curious understanding of both sides. Libra, right? We're trying to see both sides of the scale and bring some understanding to this if that's happening for you. If you're having other issues in your life that are coming up at this time, this energy is presenting you the opportunity to see a solution, possibly. Go back and fix old relationship or old issues, helping you, because again, Mercury's in retrograde. So this is going to help you to go back and sort of see old patterns in your life, relationships, people, why you keep attracting these types of people, friends, lovers, whatever, into your life. And what's the lesson here? What is it that you actually want? And what do you don't want? And what you don't want, why is that coming in? Does that remind you of a part of yourself that you're trying to either forget or heal or release? You're not going to be able to forget it. And the more you try to, what you resist persists. So do not try to forget it. Try to lean into it and go, what is this trying to teach me? And what do I want to choose instead? And then who do I have to be to get what I want? It's always about being. And then Sunday, we have a bit of a interesting aspect. It is Sun square to Pluto. Now, Sun square Pluto is a very intense aspect. And we're going to feel this in kind of for the majority of this week and next week, because Pluto is so slow and the sun only moves a degree per day. So we always say something is in aspect when it's a certain orb. And so orb means a certain degrees too. So it's exact on Sunday, but the way that I was taught, it's 8 degrees of orb with Pluto. So even 8 days ahead and 8 days later, we could still feel this aspect, but I would say strongly feel it 5 days before and 5 days after. So it sort of builds in intensity. So from the 12th of October, it's going to be building in intensity to the 17th, where it's exact, and then it's going to be waning away in intensity. So what does this all mean, you might be asking? This is about confronting the shadow. Oh, so easy, right? No, this is about societies, because Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn. This is about government, patriarchy, structures. Old structures that have lasted the test of time are now being challenged, and not such great ways sometimes. We saw what's happening in Texas, where there was, women's rights are being infringed on, and now it's kind of, here we go again, having to fight the fight to have our own bodies and be the master of our own bodies. And why are men making, I'm not going to get started on that, but that is about old structures getting revamped, sometimes not for the best. And we have to continue to be the voice of the future. As soon as we sort of light up on that, and you're like, I'm exhausted of being for that. Yes, I know. And so sometimes you've got to put it down. When someone else is not exhausted, they can take it on. And then when you're feeling it again, then you can take it on and someone else can put it down. That's how we work as a community. Right? I cannot always be the voice of love because I'm tired sometimes because of what's happening for me. And so if you're watching this and you're like, Sheetal, I'm tired, then put it down. Put it down, my friend. You don't have to be the one that's always waving the banner and trying to be and fight the fight. That is where mental health challenges come in. So put it down, let someone else pick up the baton, and think of this as a relay. We're in this as a marathon, not a sprint. Take care of yourself. So on this day especially, and leading up to this day and 5 days into next forecast, I'm going to say take care of yourself, okay? This is a time of increased need for control, conflicts, and powerful people. A crisis and conflict around us will intensify. Defending, fight, or flight. That's part of this. So what this is saying to me is there's going to be more restrictions likely coming in around this time, which sucks so bad because Halloween, the kids haven't gone Halloweening the last 2 years. And it's like, I was really hoping that this year could be a little bit different. And I mean, some kids were going, so, don't at me about that. It's a different, for everybody. But when last year for us, it was kind of, we were in a bit of a lockdown here. So deep psychological triggers will come to the surface now for you to heal it. So the best possible way to use this anytime the shadow work comes up is to get introspective, to get quiet, and to listen. If you fuel a fire now, you get into a debate, you get into an argument, you start to, fuel the fire in some way, that fire is going to rage and no one is going to win. This is a deadlock. Not a good time to have deep conversations, okay? This is a time to listen, to journal, to introspect, to kind of think about this is bothering me now. Whatever it is, I'm going to give you a journal exercise to do. When you are like, oh, this person's irritating me, write down, what about them irritated you? And then where do I see that in myself? And then where does this come up in my past? Or what does this remind me of in the past? And how then can I bring healing, love, understanding, compassion to this part of myself? Because what you see in you is what reflects out to everyone else, or what you see in others is actually a reflection of you. So you're like, oh, that person that's in that Facebook chat that's always doing this thing and just like isn't listening. Huh. Okay. Well, do you do that? Right? Or does that remind you of your mom who used to do that to you? Interesting, right? Just notice. This is a wonderful time to heal yourself if you stop projecting your pain onto others. And we don't do it consciously. We're just like, oh, this person is irritating me. But instead of like, why is this person irritating me? That takes a little bit more control, compassion, care, kindness, introspection, curiosity, right? All those lovely words. So this is the week, my friends, to bring those words in. Gain consciousness around the reasons you feel the way you do. Heal the wound is what I wrote here. So that is really important. So this week, not shaping up to be somewhat intense. That Friday being a good day, this Pluto square sun is still going to be an aspect on that day, but this sun trine to Jupiter is such a good aspect. It's one of these wonderful days of the year. So enjoy that and see the opportunities in the days. As we come into Monday next week, my next forecast, Mercury is going to go direct. Jupiter is going to go direct, and we're going to have a Mars trine to Jupiter, which is a wonderful aspect as well. But the energy is going to be shifting next week. So whenever we feel energy shifting in us, we can feel a little wobbly, a little shaky. But as the moon is gaining in light to the next full moon on the 20th, we can start to feel more momentum starting to shift forward for ourselves, especially if we've been feeling a little stuck. So that's going to help you. All right. Wishing you a wonderful week ahead. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. Please drop a comment below of what you liked about this video so I can do more of that. I appreciate you. Have the best week. Take care.